Let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Aaron, who writes, saw a couple of good movies this weekend, but my favorite was the new Tom Hanks movie Greyhound. It was originally supposed to be in theaters, but Apple Plus picked it up. Tom Hanks is a national treasure. You'll get no argument from me or my wife on that. And I loved this movie. What did you think of it? I hope it gets some Oscar consideration. All right, thanks for saying that in, man. And yeah, Old Guard wasn't the only significant film project to drop on streaming this week. And we had Old Guard drop on Netflix. Palm Springs also dropped on Hulu, but admittedly, I haven't had a chance to watch Palm Springs yet, even though I'm very interested in watching it. I just didn't have a chance. But of course, the new Tom Hanks film Greyhound also debuted, and it was on Apple TV Plus. And I was interested in this film when they originally announced it. It was supposed to go to theaters. Apple decided to pick it up. They sold off the rights to Apple to put it up on Apple Plus. Very excited to watch it. And I got around to watching it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big fan of this movie. And I'm going to tell you what my primary kind of issue with the film is. My primary issue with this film is it's really not a movie. It's one scene. Greyhound is basically one long scene with very little story. Like, the scenario is set up right from the beginning, right? It's set up that Tom Hanks is leading an escort group for a group of supply ships that are supporting the British allies. They've got to take these ships across and try to protect them from enemy U-boats that is in the seas to sink them. Like thousands of allied ships have been sunk. So they set the premise, right? They set the premise up. And they set the premise up pretty well. But that's basically it. The movie is the premise. And then it's just one scene. It's just one prolonged action sequence. And then the movie ends. And that's it. Then it's done. Now, don't get me wrong. See, I'm not even going to refer to it as a movie anymore. It's just the scene is great. There's some thrilling moments. There's a really good sense of tension in it. You know what? This is one of those films I was watching. And I had the feeling watching it that this probably would be a better experience if I was watching it on a big screen in a movie theater. I think it would add to the tension and the thrill of it all, and heart pounding in your chest, certain scenes. But basically, the entire movie is a prolonged yelling of bearing 2651, sighting 123. Target acquired at Mark 4-5. That's basically all the dialogue in the movie. That's the whole dialogue movie. They do this one little minor sort of side story with Tom Hanks and his appreciation for a particular crew member, and something happens there. But that was very minor and very short. It sets up at the beginning of the movie that, before he takes on this command, he had fallen in love with a woman. And they never really go back or revisit that again. It's just one scene off the ship and the rest of it goes. Now, again, as a scene, it's very good. But when the movie ended, I was just kind of like, it really wasn't much of a movie. There's no story progression. It's just this one prolonged action sequence that happens over the course of just a couple of days. And so I don't think it's bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I think Greyhound is a bad film. And Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He gives a great performance in the lead and he carries it. He absolutely does. But just when it was all done, I was like, yeah, there wasn't much of a story there, was it? And so I turned to Ann. I said, what did you think of it? And because it has Tom Hanks, she said, it's the greatest movie of all time, which I appreciate. My wife has an undying loyalty to Tom Hanks. But yeah, I got to say, I wasn't that thrilled. And if you had asked me prior to the weekend, he said, John, you're going to watch this Netflix original one, The Old Guard, and you're going to watch a Tom Hanks World War II epic, Greyhound. Which one do you think you're going to like more? Obviously, I would have put $1,000 that I would have liked Greyhound more. I actually ended up liking The Old Guard more. But anyway, guys, like the person who sent the question, I'm sure there's a lot of people who really did appreciate it for the strong points in the film. What did you think of Greyhound? Jump down into the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.